Gadget's field trip.
We're going on a visit.
Inspector Gadget's field trip.
Come on, let's go with him.
Inspector Gadget's field trip.
What's that, you ask? What is it?
Inspector Gadget's field trip.
Well, no one wants to miss it.
Inspector Gadget's field trip.
We're going on a visit.
Inspector Gadget's field trip.
Come on, let's go with him.
New places, new faces. Inspector Gadget's field trip.
Inspector Gadget's field trip.
Inspector Gadget here. It's time to check my top secret field trip message from the chief. You are visiting Plymouth Rock. Stop. Get acquainted with pilgrims and local Native Americans. Stop. Mix and mingle with witches. Stop. If you think you're at Alcatraz, you're on the wrong rock. Stop and check your compass. Of course it's Plymouth Rock in New England. That's where, legend says, the Pilgrims boat, the Mayflower, landed when they came over to America in 1620. Must have been quite a crash. Let's investigate how the rugged Pilgrims set up their colony in America. How they celebrated their survival with Native American pals. And how superstition led them to discover witches in their midst. Wonder if the pointy hats gave them away. Let's go back in time to the beginning of American history. Go, Gadget field trip. America's first immigrants, who were called Pilgrims, left their home in England, which was ruled by King James I. They were looking for religious freedom. After a short detour to the Netherlands, they continued on to the New World. The Pilgrims had a tough time finding the place since the Statue of Liberty didn't show up to guide them for another 265 years, which is why they landed in Massachusetts instead of New York. Since airplanes weren't invented yet, and they didn't have gadget copters in their hats, they had to take a ship called the Mayflower. And it was no luxury cruise. It took 66 days. The cruise activities included disease, rough seas, strong winds called gales, and saltwater showers, also known as really big waves. All hands below deck. Sailors had their hands full trimming the sails, barking the bilge, and trying to keep on course on the choppy seas. I can't even stay on course when I'm sailing my boats in my bathtub. That's my great ancestor, Gourmet Gadget.
Well, you can't get any decent bread upon a ship, but it'll all rot. So the bread you get is a very hard and dried bread, which is called a biscuit. Mind it?
He nearly caused a mutiny once by over-salting the seaweed stew. Yes, I have a proud heritage. There he is, whipping up the day's special. Fish. Same as yesterday's special. And tomorrow's. After that meal, I could sure use a nap. Wake me up when we get to America. Or when the day's special isn't fish. Finally, on November 9th, 1620, land was sighted. Land ho! It was music to their soggy ears. After 66 days at sea, the Mayflower dropped anchor. Then they pulled the anchor up and sailed the rest of the way to shore. But first, the famous Mayflower Compact was signed. Compact is a fancy word for written laws that would keep order within the Pilgrim colony. That's what they call their community. Even though they were a little freer now, the colonies were still under British rule and were called New England. Wowzers! We're standing in the middle of what used to be the Plymouth colony. Not exactly the Taj Mahal. It took a lot of work to make it look this way. Trees to clear, chickens to catch, barns to raise. Today you can visit a living replica of Plymouth colony. It's called Plymouth Plantation in Plymouth, Massachusetts. We can blend right in with the hard-working Pilgrims. That is, if they all have gadgets sticking out of their hats. Time for an investigation. Most Pilgrim families lived in small two-story wooden houses, also known as vertically challenged skyscrapers. Since electricity hadn't been invented yet, they used candles for light. Of course, making candles is a day job, because it's too dark at night. Their shared barns house goats, cows, hogs, and chickens. If you thought being a colony pig was hard, being a colony kid was no picnic either. They were taught such skills as weaving and carpentry. Some families had as many as 15 children. That's a lot of potholders and three-legged milking stools. And now an Inspector Gadget field trip fact. What small lake in Massachusetts has the longest name of any place in the country? Chaga Gaga, Guman, Gaga Chuga, Chaga Chiga. Forget it. Wow! That's quite a gaggle to gargle. It's Nipmuc Indian for you fish on your side of the lake, I fish on my side, and no one fishes in the middle. It was a terrible winter. Almost half of the settlers died. Luckily, they became friends with a Native American tribe called the Pakanaket Wampanoag. They met a wise and noble native named Squanto, who spoke better English than the Pilgrims spoke Wampanoag. He also looked quite dashing in animal skins. Squanto was a wonderful teacher who taught the Pilgrims ways of weathering the rugged colony life. He taught them how to plant pumpkins and corn, to build warm houses, and also construct canoes, which would have been more useful if they'd put them in the water. They became loyal friends. To celebrate getting through their first year and showing their thanks to Squanto and the Wampanoag, they decided to have a big harvest feast. Hold the fish! The Wampanoags had a Thanksgiving harvest called the Green Corn Dance. The Pilgrims joined them, and together they celebrated in one big party. Go, go, Gadget Party Pack! Get a load of the first Thanksgiving menu. Roasted turkey, goose, duck, seafood, corn, pumpkin, bread, Indian pudding, and so much more. It's making my mechanical mouth water. After that feast, we'll need some exercise. Let's go to another part of 17th century New England history, the Salem witch trials, and find out which witch was which witch. What exactly is a witch? It says in my Gadget dictionary, witch is a relative pronoun. Oh, wrong witch. Actually, there are several meanings. These witches are different from your broom-riding Halloween variety. Witchcraft, or Wicca, as it is sometimes called, is a type of religion. During the late 1600s, the word witch was used to describe the 19 innocent people put on trial and killed in Salem, Massachusetts. These people were accused of being witches because they were said to be under the influence of evil powers. Here at the Salem Witch Dungeon Museum, those 19 innocent people were jailed in a dungeon like this. Follow me very carefully and don't trip over your brooms. Wow! These cells are tiny, no bigger than a broom closet. The hair on my Gadget neck would be standing up if there was room. What a terrible time it was for those poor prisoners. Many stories were inspired by this dark time in history. One famous novel based on this eerie house was called The House of the Seven Gables. It was written by Nathaniel Hawthorne. See those 7 pointed peaks on top of the roof? They're called gables. You could also call them points. But The House of the 7 Points isn't much of a title. Walk this way. Wowzers! This place is creepy. Check it out. It's got a secret staircase. Of course, it's not a secret anymore. There's even a superstition or false belief that claims whoever climbs these steps can actually hear the heartbeat of the house. What a ridiculous notion. Whoa! Phew. I hope you don't think the old inspector is scared. I'm just running a little late for our next field trip. I hope you had a good time sailing on the Mayflower, pigging out with the Pilgrims at the first Thanksgiving, and whaling with the witches of Salem. Until next time, go, go, Gadget Field Trip.